our current support at the state level is supporting the data system itself, and it's also providing some basic training and offering guidance and technical assistance. So we have a team to oversee the work, and as I said before, this offers some protection for turnover and keeps more people involved in the work and knowing about the work so they can apply it into their appropriate divisions. Trying to break down some of those silos so that everybody takes ownership of tools like this. And we also have support from our regional centers of excellence. Our regional centers of excellence have primarily been working with our priority and focus schools, our lowest performing schools, and some of our, in some of the lowest tiers of performance in the schools to give extra support. We have some work, we've done some work with them, depending on how the funding flows, to do some of the training last year, and then some really scaled back training this year. We found we just didn't have the capacity for as much face-to-face training as we had hoped. And so this year, all of our training was done via webinar by just a couple people, and at least got people familiar with what we wanted to show them, where the resources are, and then we can turn them over to use the data as they found fit. So we're hoping that as more resources become available, we can offer more supports. But we also, REL Midwest helped us administer that survey I was talking about for districts that have had access to MEIRS, and it revealed that we have a lot of room for growth in the use of MEIRS itself. There was a lot of response that showed us that they found their local data more useful, which we weren't really surprised by, because that can be really rich data, and we're happy that they find that really useful. Some schools and districts have better data systems than others. But since our MEIRS data is really limited, they rely heavily on that local data. And the districts also expressed interest in ongoing training. So even if they are looking at their local data, how can we support them in that analysis and looking at the root cause, and then especially in ways that they can support the students that they're identifying and engaging those students. There is a strong interest in getting more ongoing training in those areas. So it prompted us to think about how we are doing our training. And it has been more, while we're trying to talk about the whole process, we also are aware that we kind of put the MEIRS data front and center. We talk a lot about that, so we might be giving the impression that that's the most important part, when, as I've expressed through this, we really want them to focus on generally, what are we doing for dropout prevention, and how is this a piece of the puzzle? But what are all these other pieces that you really might need help with moving along? Okay, I think I have another poll for you. There we go. So I was interested in we asked in our survey about the interventions that people use. So we were wondering what intervention strategies have been useful in your experience for getting kids back on track for graduation. You might be more connected with students than some of the others. Depends on how far removed you are from the schools, but if you can think about what you've experienced. Yeah, it looks like the 9th grade transition program and assigning adult advocates to students who are at risk are really coming out as strong. In our poll, the offering counseling and tutoring, along with things like partnering and stuff came out as strong, encouraging and family engagement and that kind of stuff, which was really interesting because those are a little lower on this scale. But that seemed to be some of those things that they found most useful in their process. So it kind of gets at the idea that there's such a wide range of things that you can do. How do we really focus on what those things are that are proven and that we can measure in schools, and then be able to actually connect what we're doing with the outcomes for kids? So we want to look at adult behavior and those outcomes to give feedback and support, and then connect it to those student outcomes. And then we can actually get to a point where we can repeat what we found successful.